Have you ever thought what separates you from other people? Have you ever thought what separates you from other groups? Have you ever thought and looked at life and said, what separates me from many? Most of the things that we go through or experience, even if we're on that path and that journey to elevate, comes in the form of separation. If you want your career to advance, you have to separate yourself from your colleagues. If you're an athlete, you have to separate yourself from your team, not in a negative sense, but if you have certain work tendencies and you don't have the best diet, the best workout regimen, you have to separate yourself. If you're an athlete that just parties, have a good time, but you're not taking care of your body, it'll eventually show. Same is true for life. You have to separate yourself in order to grow beyond what you see. To reach the pinnacle that you seek, it requires separation. If you're on a job right now, whatever your title is, if you want to separate yourself from the other group or the other individuals that hold that same title, you have to do something different. And you don't have to make the most noise doing it. Quiet is kept. You don't have to make the noise. Do it silently. Again, quiet is kept. Separate yourself from everyone around you, not ignoring them, not distancing yourself. Just they don't know what you're working on, but you're working on elevation. You're working on separating yourself from them so that you can climb, so that you can succeed, so that you can benefit. And there's no shade to those that aren't, because everybody don't want that. Some people are happy being in a position that they're in right now. They don't look for no more than that. If they could stay where they're at right now, they will stay in that same position. That's natural for some people. Those of us that seek more, we want more. Those of us that seek less, we do less. The power of separation is just like in the previous podcast, elevation. You need separation from people, places, or things to change how you think, to change how you move. That separation brings about an immense structure, discipline, and power that you don't even see. All because you decided that this is what I'm going to do and this is not what I'm going to do. Separate yourself from everyone else. And if you haven't separated yourself from everyone else, look at your peers. Ask yourself, how do we compare? And if you can see whether it's, black and white on a sheet of paper or just through conversations that has been had in the past, how have you separated yourself from them? And you see it, what can you do to separate yourself from them? For a lot of people, they have to really go into deep thought to be able to answer that question. If your peers and you share the same similar background, y'all share the same similar experiences. No one has created any separation between or amongst yourselves. What makes you so different? But once you move, and you move in a manner that people around you are unaware of, and you're separating yourself, it'll eventually bear fruit. I say these things to say everyone doesn't have to know what you're doing. You can make the moves that you're making and you can do it quietly. By the time that things become pronounced as to what you have done or what you are working on, it's too late to catch up. Again, quiet is kept. How you gonna deal with it? Of course, you may get some pushback. Of course, there may be people that don't agree with the decisions made based upon the actions that you took to put yourself in a better position. Some people think time, because I've been here or I've dedicated so much time to a place, automatically guarantees them a promotion. That don't guarantee you nothing, but each to his own. Separate yourself. Think about everything that you can deal with, everything that you can do in the direction that you're going. Whether that's in your personal life, whether that's in your career, whether that's in certain friendships that you may have. What are you doing? How are you separating yourself from people close to you? What action steps are you taking? Think about it. Where do you want to be? Ask yourself that question. Where do you want to be? Are you happy where you at right now? Can you be doing more? Is there something that you can do so that you have the ability or the skill set to do more? Be honest with yourself. There's always room for improvement. There's someone that sees something in you that you don't see, but you're complacent because you're comfortable where you're at. And the worst thing for any person is to be uncomfortable. But you learn so much about yourself when you're uncomfortable. So again, I say ask yourself these questions. Where do you want to be? Think 5 years from now. Think 10 years from now. Think 20 years from now. Hell, think retirement. As long as we blessed and we can see that day, where do you want to be? Do you want to be a 70-year-old guy that's still working because you didn't do right in the 40 plus years you had to work? Or you want to be a 70-year-old guy that's living his best life at his age? Again, for everybody, that's different. Every situation is different. How you go about life is different. But what have you done to separate yourself from the pack? You got certain animals, right? Wolves, coyotes. They live in packs. And you got certain animals, they don't. I don't need a pack to support me. I don't need a pack to acknowledge me and say, hey, yeah, I'm with him. Y'all ain't doing nothing to him or y'all got to deal with us. I stand alone. I stand alone. Not saying I don't have a support group or, people around me that support what I'm doing or the direction that I'm going. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if I have to stand alone for something, I have to stand alone. And I'm good with standing alone because I'm good with what my capabilities are. It's no different than, when you're in high school, your friend, someone juices him up, getting his head. Oh, you can beat his ass. You can do whatever. Knowing that they ain't on that. Knowing that that's not them. But because the pack is pushing him or pushing her, they make a decision that ain't them. But then they got to wear that decision based upon what the pack has pushed them into. And now you involved with something that you ain't built for, something that ain't really your position. Life is the same way. Don't let nobody push you in a direction that ain't you. Don't let nobody push you to do something that you normally don't do. Don't let nobody push you to be somebody that you ain't. Be who you are. If you're 20 years old right now, you're still kind of figuring yourself out. If you're 30, you got a good grip on it. If you're 40, you already know who you are. And no one's going to change that unless you allow it. And if you allow it, then you're going to be miserable because you allowed it. Be yourself. Don't lie to yourself. That would be my advice to anyone. Don't lie to yourself. Be yourself. The moment you start lying to yourself, the moment you start losing purpose, direction, discipline, motivation on whatever it is that drives you. But the person that you're doing that for, or the people that you're doing that for, or the organization that you're doing that for don't care because you're still performing. And a lot of us live in a performative atmosphere, performative environment where they're looking for performance. You can't run from that, but that's what is being addressed. That's what is being sought after. What kind of performance can this person deliver? Sometimes you got to sit back and ask yourself the real hard, tough questions. What would this story look like without me? What would this story look like without my efforts or my direction or my discipline? And I'm not saying me specifically, I'm saying this as a question to you, my audience. Ask yourself these questions. Because too many times, good hearted people end up in circumstances and situations that they never saw coming because they got a good heart. They get burned. You don't want to be in that position unless it's justified. Your day to day life and what you do in your day to day life is dictated upon what you do in your day to day life. But certain decisions that you may make or certain decisions that you don't, whether you're avoiding it, whether you don't have the heart to, it's going to be the one that has the biggest penalty associated with it. You have to really ask yourself the question, is this something I want to deal with? How did you create separation between yourself and someone who's a close comparison? Think about that. Create separation. When we look at sports, I use football for an example. I use baseball for an example. I use basketball for an example. If you're not creating separation, you can't make a play. And if you can't make a play, it's a little harder. The best wide receivers create separation. The best tight ends create separation. Best basketball players create separation. The best baseball players create separation. Now you may say, okay, how does baseball create separation? If I'm at bat and I'm swinging, I want separation between that ball and my opponent and their glove. I want separation between the two. If I can hit that ball far, long, wide, can't get a home run, but I want that ball to hit the ground. I don't want it to hit a glove. I don't want it to be caught. I want that separation. In basketball, you get fast breaks. What that do? Create separation. Again, like I said with football, create separation. You can make plays. You can dominate. You can achieve certain things. But you have to have a level of separation in order to get to that glory. Because if you don't have separation and someone's on top of you, it's going to be harder for you to make the play and probably a 50-50 shot that you make a play. But if you got some separation between you, it's different. A 6 foot point guard being defended by a 6'6" guard got to create separation when they're going for a jumper. If they don't create the separation, it's going to get blocked. Apply that to your life. Apply that to the direction that you're wanting to go. for the goals that you set for yourself. If you haven't set goals for yourself, do a quick Google search and see what can you do to grow, whether that's in your personal life or your career field. What can you do? Create separation. It doesn't have to be loud. We get overconsumed from time to time thinking that every move that we make got to be loud. It don't have to be loud. Your moves can be silent. Not that you hiding it, not that you keeping it a secret, but once you pronounce it, once you acknowledge it, it'll make people say, damn, I didn't know you was doing that. Give yourself some time, give yourself some grace, create separation. That's when the plays are being made. And when you fast forward, your time stamp, your time, your schedule, you can look back on and said, I couldn't have done this without separation. Again, the best athletes create separation so that they can make plays. So if you, whatever capacity that you work in right now, whether it's for yourself or an organization, create separation between you and your peers so that you can grow. Some people are happy with just being this and taking care of this. Others want to achieve more. Some people don't want the responsibility of more. I get it. Create that separation. It's powerful. It's powerful. Don't get anxious about it. Don't regret the decision that you made to go that path. Just create separation and make your moves. I say that again. Just create separation and make your moves. And when you look up, when people close to you or work with you, your peers, your colleagues, they look, the only thing they can come up with in their mind is checkmate.